Good evening, everybody. Today the Hooves were on at Hawkesbury. It was a Randwick meeting transferred to Hawkesbury, Australian Turf Club meeting. The track was given out dead. Up after race 2 was upgraded to good. It was a sort of a crusty surface, kicking up of a fair bit of dirt. The rail was 3 metres out from the 1200 to the winning post. Bias on the track, well, the fence was the shortest way home. If you led on the fence or saved ground on the fence, it was an advantage. The wind was directly up the straight. It eased as the day went on. It wasn't strong by the last race as it was by race 1, and it was a bit cold. The first race, Gay Waterhouse provided the Quinella with 2 unraced runners. The winner, Queenstown, went up favourite at $3. It was $4.20 on my board when they jumped. There wasn't a caser for it, and it was a result for the captains. And likewise, the second horse, as I said, also trained by Gay, all Ironfield. It went from $3.50 to $5. Also hard to lay. The one that was best backed in the race was the Cummings, Anthony stable, Cummings, the Black Divya. It was $6.50 given, started $4 favourite. And Gay went straight to the lead with Queenstown from barrier 1. That's her position. And sitting straight behind her on the fence was Nash Ruella, who rode the second horse in all Ironfield. As I said, they Quinella the race. There was a run by Rosalie, number 5. It got squeezed out at the start, bit of a check, pulled in the run, made up a lot of ground down the outside. It ran 4th, beaten just over 3 lengths. That's about all you'd say there. The flux screen, it said 113.6, 107% in the ring, but unfortunately we were playing to an empty house. There were some races there where everyone was singing Silent Night. It was just fly blown. There were 8 bookies on the fence. Well, when I say 8 bookies on the fence, there was actually 7 bookies on the fence. One of the captains on the fence, they don't play. They don't put the prize. They put whatever's on the flux screen. They set their board to 2 rolls under that, so they make sure nobody in the ring has a bet, and so you don't count them in. They're there for their phone clients to take the flux screen prices, and I was the only bookie in the outside ring. Race 2, the flux screen said 110. There's 8 less than that given in the ring, 102%. And Gay provided the winner here as well with Preserve by Choisier. It missed a kick, copped a bit of a pratt when they jumped, but ridden by Nash, he was able to get into 3 back on the fence into a fairly good position. When they turned for home, they fanned, and when he got clear and hooked around the leader's heels, the race was all over in 2 strides. He got past the second favourite, Lyric, and he sat up with 50 metres to go, and it was a nice win. And no doubt when Gay takes it to town next start, it will most certainly start favourite and be very hard to beat. Although these runners aren't that good, but still it can obviously gallop. Running second was the second pick, Lyric, who was liable at one stage at $5, but started that price, $5.50 given, and the winner, it opened up $2.40 and got to $2.70, $2.80. No, $2.70 was the best. Into $2.40, hard to get at one stage. Did run $2.50 on my board. So it started favourite, and that's about all I'd say there. There were runners without a price. Number 1, 0600, it went from $6 out to $13. There was a bit of money for number 2, Phil Dancer, who copped a bit of a check at the start. I bet $15. I didn't want to miss it. It started 12. And about, well, there was another runner back late, and that was Lansdowne Road. I later to lose a couple of thousand twice and or maybe three times. It was back from $8.50 into $5.50 hard to get. And there was a little bit of money late for the bottom one, Lunar Rise. Opened up 9 to 2, 5.50, got to 9, back into about $7 late. And that was your race. If you gave the $2.70 and $2.60 the favourite, which the pros took, you'd lose on the race. The next race on the screen said 109. There was 10 less in the ring, 99% only. And the winner was back very early in the piece. Opened up $5.50, got out to $7 fairly quick, and that was taken into $6. But it did start $7.50. Went straight to the lead, which was going to be about the case. It did that last start at Grafton, and it was a designated leader, and that's what's got it home. It's only just lasted by 0.1 of a length, beating Aaron Solner, which was very easy in the market. It was returned $4.20. I was $5 when they jumped. I might have got a lemon out of it, and that was about it. It went from $3.50 to $5, and someone had 4 lemons with me very late. A couple of other runners back were May Nelly, $6.50 taken early, into $5, back out to $5.50 in starting 5, and Platinum Red, you wouldn't see it in the flux, but $5.50 was given, started about $4.60, $4.80 hard to get. There was money for Blurred Vision at one stage at $12 taken, started 10, and they took $15 and $14 the bottom one fees for us. If you went off early, the winner, you could have easily lost it, but after that it was friendless in the betting. And if you wanted to play, but there were no figures and no one betting, you would have lost on the race. Race 4, Flux Green, 113.6. There was a bit of purr here for the bookies, 107, but unfortunately no players, just no cash at the races. There are no punters there, no punters. Punters are very scarce things these days. It was another silent night, everyone just standing around looking at themselves. The opening favourite, Whitlam, well, it didn't have a price. It went from $3 to $4. You're right, Roach, your bookies were cheering for it. Unfortunately for Kevin McAvoy, he got trapped. He drew wide. He had barrier 12 in a field of 12, and he got trapped 3 wide going forward on it, and didn't get till outside the lead or just before the turn. So it was a fairly good effort to stick on and run third. The margins were 0.1 and 0.4 of a length. If he would have been able to slot in early outside the lead or get a run with cover, it most probably would have got the cash. Although the winner, High on Believing, it was most probably equally as good run. So I'm most probably wrong there. High on Believing at Red at the start, lost a bit of ground, sat midfield. Ridden by Peter Roble. He had plenty of horse underneath him coming to the turn. He angled in between runners, shouldered his way clear, and he found the line very strongly. He wasn't there halfway up the straight, and all of a sudden he loomed close to the line and got them convincingly. Running second was the third favourite booked out. It went from $5 out to $6. So the picks have ran 1, 2, 3 in that race. There was a little bit of money around for Bikini Swift at $12, $11 taken, and also a little bit of money for Après, number 5. At one stage, $8 taken into 6, but back out to $7.50. And the winner was extremely well backed. I bet one of the bookies backing it back had 4.5 monkeys off me, and as I say, it only started $4.60 hard to get. Race 5, on the flux screen it said 107.6. We gave less than that, 98% in the ring, to an empty house. And the winner at one stage, King of Love, was backed. Went up $8, got out to 12, taken by the pros, into 10, maybe even into 9. But it got out at the finish, got out to $12, started $12, and it got the charmer. It ran down the leader, which was Master Gaze, who was also backed by the pros, 30 out to 50, back into $26. You knew it was going to be near the lead, if not lead. it did go straight to the lead Master Gaze, and sitting straight behind it from barrier 2 was King of Love, who was resuming from a spell where it bled last start, and it was able to nab the leader on the line to win by 0.1 of a length. And coming from second last position, or last position, was the favourite Liechtenstein. It drew the outside alley. It had barrier 10 in a field of 10. And when they jumped, instead of being trapped wide, it was eased back to last by Sam Clipperton, and he made his run turning for home, easing off heels, coming right down the outside, and he was beaten 0.9 of a length. They came home fairly fast there, 33.63. So if he would have been able to slot in maybe midfield with a bit of cover, Liechtenstein might have got the cash. What else do I say there? Laura Tech, who drew barrier 1, it pulled a bit in the run and got a bit of a check. There was $6 given about it. It only started $4.60. I laid 4 monkeys at one stage, plus a few other bets, and the others were more or less friendless in the betting. Although the bottom weight Shazoo, it was $7 taken at one stage. You could have laid at that price. It was into 6, hard to get. Well, not well, $6 not taken, but it did start with 7, and it's fairly limited. That's all I'd say there. Race 6. We saw 109.4 on the screen, the flux screen. There were 10 less, and there was 10 less in the marketplace, 99%. And I lost on this race, Calvo. Can't believe it led. There was no pace early. Nash and Gay, you would have thought they would have held the lead with the favourite, So Symbolic, which didn't have a price, by the way. It went from opened up $1.90, 10 to 9 on, and it was $2.80 begging at the death. I haven't put its name in the ledger, and unfortunately it bled. It went straight to lead early, and Nash, when Calvo moved up, ridden by Nathan Berry, he let it go to the lead. There was no pace at the time, which I couldn't understand Nash not holding the lead, but he's the captain steering it, steering the boat. He knows. And then he eased off its heels and sat looking at it to the turn, but unfortunately couldn't run it down and got beat 1 length. Coming from second last position was Above All, who made up plenty of ground against Symbolic last start at Gosford, and it ran into third hole, beaten 2 lengths. Now the favourite blew in the betting, so there had to be firmers, and the firmers were Disputes number 4, and it was $6 early, did start only $4.60. And Mosso Arioso, it was $6 out to $8, into $7 hard to get late. And also Danzer, it was $4.60 out to $6, back into $4.20, hard to get at the finish. As I say, I lost in the race. I did lay, but didn't want to miss the winner Calvo. I gave $15. One of the pros backed it with me. It led, and Above All, the bottom one, it didn't have a price. It went from $8 to $13. And going to the front with Calvo early in the pace, in the piece where there was no pace, that got it home. Now we come to the last race, race 7, 111.2 on the flux screen, a bit less in the marketplace, 106. And the favourite here, Furbian, it got a charmer, ridden by Nash. It was hard to lay in the marketplace, went up $2.40, got to $2.90 on at least one board, if not 2 on the fence, started $2.80. It was, I must admit, hard to lay, and it got the miracle run, or the perfect run to win the race. It sat behind the leader, who was Mr. Latar, which was a bit of a strange situation, Mr. Latar leading, but anyway, it went straight to the lead, set an average pace, and Nash was able to sit straight behind it on the fence. When they turned for home, Mr. Latar got off the fence under a little bit of pressure, and Nash was able to get inside it and win by 0.1 of a length. from the second pick, Kim Devine, who was very well backed. Opened up 11 to 4, $3.60, $3.70, and got out to $4.40, back into $3.90. I was $4 when they jumped, and it came from last position, got in between runners turning for home, and as I say, just failed by 0.1 of a length. Running third in this race was Vader, who had every possible chance, sat in the 1-1 position. I did lay 4,000 to 880, it sort of late. I bet $5.50. It did start $5 hard to get, and it had every possible chance, running third, beaten 1.4. And possibly the unlucky runner in the race was Sables. It ran fourth, beaten 2.1. It's a straight run down the back straight when they come out of the 1800 metre start. And they have a straight run full. They go down in a big dip at Hawkesbury, which a lot of people don't know, and come up. But unfortunately, every time Kevin McAvoy tried to ease in or go, he couldn't go back. But every time he tried to ease in, there was they kicked up inside him, and it did sit 3 wide the journey. With a run, I think Sables most probably would have got the cash. And that's about all I'd say. It was a losing meeting for the captains. The meeting was very Kleiner. No punters are disappearing. Every time we see a punter disappear from the track, there's never a new punter to take his place, and there's just no cash at the races. It's a very hard marketplace to try and win. We're playing the pros all the time, but the prize money, it's going up. If the bookies aren't holding any money at the races, and their holdings keep decreasing, well, I suppose the tab must be holding all the cash and all the corporates. The Racing New South Wales, I'll be able to get the cash off that to keep the prize money going, and a race every time you blink. Turn the television on now. There's only one country in the world where they cross the line. They're set at so and so, holding at business. They're about set to go in another 90 seconds, and it's just wall to wall. But they know what they're doing. Good evening.